The sky was still when the first horn blew. A shrill, bone-deep sound tore through the thick air of Obodani, a peaceful village nestled at the edge of the great Iroko forest. For generations, the Obodani people had lived in harmony with the land. Farmers, artisans, and griots who remembered every name buried beneath their soil. But peace has a price, and they had grown too comfortable, too trusting of silence. By the time the third horn sounded, it was too late. Flames licked the thatched roofs, women screamed into the night, and the beat of war drums thundered like a storm from the neighboring Aguda tribe. Ancient enemies now turned conquerors. Spears were thrown with no mercy. Homes became graves. Families fled into the shadows of the forest, but one family never made it. Ogbuefi Chinedu, his wife Adaobi, and their 3 children, Amaka, 14, Ifeanyi, 9, and little Obinna, just 5, tried to escape through the yam fields. But the Aguda warriors were merciless and swift. They caught them just before the edge of the trees. Chinedu held his machete firm, shielding his family like a lion. Adaobi clutched Obinna to her chest, whispering prayers between sobs. The warriors descended. Chinedu's head was the first to fall, severed mid-cry. Adaobi screamed, but her body crumpled under the iron blade. Ifeanyi tried to run. He was struck down, his blood watering the earth. Obinna wailed as the warrior's blade struck the side of his face. A long, deep gash opened near his temple and ran down past his cheek. He collapsed, silent, still. They thought he was dead. But Amaka, brave, terrified Amaka, was taken. Bound with others, her face streaked with tears and ash, she was dragged away, stolen like a ghost of what once was. Obinna woke to silence. His parents' bodies lay cold beside him. Flies buzzed around the congealed blood. He reached out with small, trembling fingers and touched his mother's face, stiff and gray. He didn't cry. He couldn't. The shock had drowned his tears. And then came footsteps. Another wave of warriors had come, this time to make sure none had survived. Leading them was Dik Maduka, one of the Aguda's most feared warriors. Broad as a tree, his dreadlocks hung like whips and a scar cut across his left eye. He stopped at the boy's body. "This one's small," muttered a soldier. "Dead." "No," Maduka said, staring. "He breathes." The warrior drew his dagger, ready to end it. "Leave him," Maduka ordered. "But I said leave him." When the others turned away, Maduka knelt, staring at the half-dead child. Something in the boy's eyes, a haunting silence, gripped him. He wrapped Obinna in his cloak, smeared more blood on him to sell the illusion, and carried him back. "This one is Orika, a war orphan from the eastern border," he lied. And so Obinna became Orika, a child with no past. Years passed. Blood flowed. Orika was forged in fire. Trained as a warrior, he was molded into death itself. His machete struck like lightning. His silence made men tremble. Maduka raised him like a son, teaching him the art of war and burying his truth. Yet in his quiet moments, Orika would stare into the night, touching the faded scar on his face. He didn't remember everything, but he remembered the screams, his mother's voice, the soft songs she used to sing while weaving, his sister's laughter. He remembered being loved. 32 years later, the Aguda tribe had grown more powerful, and Orika, now their most feared warrior, had become a symbol of terror to rival even his foster father, Maduka. In the slave fields outside the walls, a caravan of prisoners from a recent raid arrived. Among them was a weathered woman with deep eyes and calloused hands, Amaka. Her body bore the marks of years in captivity, but her spirit had not died. As she looked up, she froze. There, on horseback, leading the warriors into the village, was a man, tall, cloaked in black, with a long scar running down his face. She gasped. "Obinna?" she whispered, tears spilling instantly. "No," one woman beside her said. "That is Orika, the black dog of Aguda. He kills without blinking." "No," Amaka insisted, eyes locked on him. "That is my brother." That night, under moonlight, Amaka managed to get a message to him through a sympathetic servant. "You are Obinna, son of Chinedu and Adaobi. Your sister lives. Come to the river tree at dawn." He came, cautiously, weapon in hand. She stepped from the shadows. He stared confused, then wary. "Who are you?" Amaka fell to her knees, sobbing. "You were 5. You held Mama's wrapper. I was with you when the stars fell. Obinna, they left us, but I never stopped waiting." Her voice cracked. "You remember this song?" She hummed softly. It was their mother's lullaby. And like a dam broken by a stone, the memories flooded back, screams, blood, the warmth of Araobi's arms. Her voice. He dropped his machete and stumbled back, rage and pain erupting from within. He screamed, a wounded roar, and fell to his knees. I killed for them. I killed my people. You were a child, Obinna. They took you, twisted you, but you're still ours. You never forgot. And so vengeance was born. Obinna disappeared from Aguda soon after, but he didn't go alone. He took loyal warriors he had secretly befriended, others with broken pasts and hidden loyalties. In secret, he journeyed back to his true village, Obodani, now reduced to scattered huts and overgrown paths. He found the elders, the sons of those who had once fled. He rallied them. He raised an army. And one moonless night, he returned to Aguda, not as a child, not as a slave, but as a storm. He spared none. His adoptive father, Maduka, begged for mercy. Obinna stood over him, face as hard as granite. You spared me once, but you also stole me. Then he slit his throat. Every shrine, every hut, every elder burned to ash. Aguta was no more. Years later, Obinna returned to Obodani with Amaka by his side. He was crowned Igwe, Obinna the Reclaimer, king of his people. He never married, never smiled much, but he rebuilt the village, carved stories into stone, and raised every child with truth, not war. And every evening he sat beneath the river tree, listening to the wind, sometimes smiling, sometimes crying, but always remembering. His story became a legend, a tale of pain, love, loss, and redemption. And when he died at a ripe old age, warriors from all corners of the land came to lay him to rest. The boy who was left for dead became a king.